Hello everyone, I'm going to be talking about most of the main additions and features that will be in the current build. First of all, I'm going to start off by talking about what's staring us in the face, which is the new additions to the GUI. There has been changes to mostly the top left and top right of the screen. First of all, on the top left there's been some rearrangement with the score. The big number with the icon next to it is going to show the last thing that earned you score and how much it earned you. So that'll be changing constantly, especially if you're killing enemies. On the top right, we will have in that blank space that you can see the name of the level you're currently on, which can be easily set in the wave node. Below that, the enemies, how many are left on the wave and how many were spawned for this wave. Below that is the wave number that you're currently on, as well as the amount of waves in the level. Underneath that will show the elapsed time in the level, and then below that the current wave time. There is a wave system that has been implemented, a wave time system, sorry, so that to keep the pace and flow of the game going. There is also a free strike system that is in place, which are those three small grenade icons below in the top right. So when the wave time runs out, what's going to happen is you're going to lose one of those grenades. All the enemies on that wave are going to die, but if you don't have any of those grenades left when you run out of wave time, then it's over and the player dies. I thought this was an important system to implement purely because we want to keep the action flowing, we want to keep the game going, and that's not going to be a case if the player can just run around the entire level and leave one enemy alive. It's just going to get a bit silly if that kind of thing happens. So especially if that's one of the things that come up in any more testing phases. So I just thought I'd preemptively add that system in. Another improvement and addition to just in general the way the game feels is the camera bob, which you may or may not notice. So when you're walking, it's generally not too harsh, but as soon as you start sprinting, it becomes more noticeable. This camera bob is on other events in the game as well, not just walking and running. So for example, when I jump, you may or may not notice the way the camera pitches down toward the floor slightly. These values can be tweaked quite easily, so if you want it more or less, just say so. Next, we'll be talking about the weapon and the changes to that. On top of the weapon, the reticules are animated as well, for just idling as well as when you shoot. So I'm going to start off with the digital weapon. As you can see, obviously the reticule going around. So when I fire, that's the new beam particles. It's a bit bright, but it's because of how the particle system works. If you're really laggy, then the particle is obviously not going to look as good. There is an alternate fire with each weapon, which slowly drains energy. Sorry, I'm going to tweak the amount it uses, but for now it's just it actually costs quite a lot because they are quite a powerful alternate fire. So for the laser, it is actually just another laser, but it's a much thicker, much stronger, just generally much more powerful version. As you can hear, weapon sounds have also been implemented to all the weapons and the events in the weapon. So charge up, charge down, fire, everything. So that's the digital weapon. Just gonna get some energy back. The rhythm game does need to be tweaked so that it's not necessarily faster, but there aren't any gaps like you saw there, but you can actually cancel it now, so that's helpful. Next I'm going to be talking about the base gun. So it's more like a shotgun now. The only tweak that needs to be added is how much the gun knocks enemies back. But currently you charge it up, and if you look at the bottom right you can see the progress of charge up, or you can just look at the particle effect and you'll notice when it becomes charged. Once you let go of the left mouse button, you fire a barrage of bullets. The idea behind the charge is that you kind of get into a rhythm of shooting the weapon. Once you do that, you can actually fire the weapon quite quickly, quite efficiently, but it's about obviously getting into a rhythm. Once you once you load the build up and actually use these systems for yourself, you'll understand what I mean by, you know, get into a rhythm. And since we are a music-based game, I thought it was a good idea to kind of try and implement those kind of mechanics a little bit more. The alternate fire for the base gun is actually a grenade, which when you right click, it shoots. I'm still holding right click, but as soon as I let go, it will detonate. And that's the base gun. The chord gun. Oh, sorry. You cannot sprint with. There is footsteps as well now. You cannot sprint with. You cannot shoot. Sorry, while sprinting with the laser weapon, the digital weapon. You can charge the base weapon and sprint, and hold the charge while sprinting and jumping. However, if you try and fire while you're sprinting, it will cancel the sprint to shoot, and you have to reinitiate the sprint. But it's more of a hybrid weapon in terms of how agile you can be with it. The chord weapon, on the other hand, has been redesigned to be the agile weapon, the weapon that you use while you're running around the most. So you can now sprint and shoot at the same time. The alternate fire for the chord gun actually works in synergy with being agile and especially sprinting, because it is a charge up melee attack. So you literally charge it up, and anything above that small green bar at the bottom right will increase how much damage you do. It's a very close range melee attack, but it does an extremely high amount of damage. So imagine you're running around, charge up, kill an enemy, carry on running. That's the idea, which will be demonstrated later on in the video. Another addition, which is pretty much a major mechanic to the game, is as I was playtesting the game, generally I felt quite trapped and quite slow, which is one of the reasons why I thought we need a weapon that you can use while you're sprinting. So, you know, it lacks a bit of the offensive power the other weapons have, but you can move around while you're using it. One of the other things I thought would be a really good addition to the game is a way to escape, or just in general to traverse the level. So, for example, if I'm standing here and I wanted to get up there, or, you know, getting up here, especially if there's enemies all over the place, you know, I'm kind of a bit trapped right now. So, first of all, I added a, you know, I can't reach that at the moment, but I added a power jump to the game. So if I hold control, I kind of supposed to look like you're on one knee kind of thing. And then when I jump, it'll jump me up pretty high. So because that causes you to be stationary and not able to move, I couldn't really get up there. So I used the other mechanic that is now in the game, which is a thrust kit, which can be used whilst in the air. However, it costs fuel, which is the massive bar you saw at the bottom middle of the screen. So as I'm crouching now, and I use the power jump, and I'm now in the air hovering, if I double tap where I want to go, I thrust it onto this platform here. I'm just going to get in a wide open space. The obviously the camera bob and stuff is implemented into this mechanic too, but it may need a little bit of tweaking. So again, if I jump and hold myself, so I'm holding space and double tap in any direction I want to go, it will take me there. So imagine there are, you know, a massive amount of enemies and you need to quickly escape. You can thrust out the way. The particles do change on weapon change too. And it's supposed to look like it's coming out from behind you too, like a jetpack or whatever. The only weapon that I believe can be used with this is the chord. It would be a bit better if I didn't have such low FPS, but it's because I'm recording. And that's the high jump and thrust kit. Okay, another addition to the game is enemy health bars. So there are two reasons this was implemented. First of all, so you can always see where enemies are generally, so they cannot hide from you, and you have no excuse to basically say, oh, I couldn't find the last enemy, and you know, you failed the wave because of it. Secondly, I thought it'd be a good idea to actually be able to see what health the enemy's at, so you can kind of plan what weapon to use, or you know, if you see a group of enemies and you see they're all really low health, you think, oh, I know, I'll just finish them off with just a base grenade or whatever. Also, I'm going to quickly demonstrate the power of each weapon. So obviously this weapon, the collision on the enemies is a bit off at the moment, but you'll hopefully get the idea. So this weapon, barely any projectiles hit that face bot, but it is still quite powerful. If you were close enough, however, obviously it's going to just obliterate the enemy because it's most powerful close to mid-range. But obviously you are in much more danger using this weapon, as opposed to being able to sprint all over the place and shoot. The closer you are to an enemy with the melee attack, the more damage you'll do. Oops. So if I'm around here, you can see it only took about, I don't know, 65% of its health. That one was weak to digital, so I'll make sure I don't hit a weak to chord one. But yeah, this one's weak to digital as well. If I'm right close to him, he dies straight away. And the laser weapon pierces targets as well, and the mega laser is just a much more powerful version.
Energy levels depleted.
So I set up 2 waves. Level ends at wave 3, and I'm going to click play and just demonstrate the gameplay now.
Harmony systems online.
Might be a little bit hard to hit the enemies purely because I'm lagging a bit.
All hostiles in the area terminated. Enemies inbound.
Accuracy of the weapon in general and the way the bob and sway and all of that works is the accuracy is less when you have low FPS, sadly. And again, I had a massive lag spike there. Looks like the AI is bugged a bit.
All hostiles in the area terminated.
There we go. So yeah, the performance of that entire demonstration then was a bit laggy, purely because of the recording software I'm using. I'm recording at full HD, and so just download the build for yourself if you want to actually feel what it is, what it proper feels like. Thanks for watching, and make sure to download the build, make sure to test it. If you've got any suggestions for the next build, or just comments, just say so. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.